This is QiQ, the question in question. Brought to you by TherapyBites Art Lab. Here to take a bite out of modern-day pseudo-psychological psycho-malarkey. Now entering the Art Lab studio, today's T-Ballers, a collection of fellow strugglers, confronting personal challenges, navigating precarious relationships, and tackling trauma. Humans like each of us, juggling difficult human emotions, each here with unique life experiences, lived stories, and questions we'll bite into that just might help you too. And now, entering the Art Lab studio for the 9,880th time is the host of TherapyBites QiQ, Doc Heath.
Hey QiQers, thank you for being here today. Let me know if I'm coming in loud and clear. I've done a little bit of a different mic configuration, but we are on the air. And you know we're on the air because we have a sign back there that says we're on there. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. And what's the best way to eat blueberry cheesecake? That's our first answer for today. And while we're getting over here to our board, let's see if anybody can come up with the best way to eat blueberry cheesecake is the answer. What's the question? It might surprise you. I just had some blueberry cheesecake. My wife made it. Let's go to our board. And the board for the evening, we have Couch Crumbs questions, or quotes. I keep on saying questions, but the Q stands for quotes. Creature feature, we have a whole zoo of those. Social media smackdown from our debates on social media. Yes, we have a few of those. FFTC Fresh from the Therapy Couch, real life stories for folks just like you. Couch Crumbs, that is our newsletter, and Nero also stands, that is also Psych Secrets. We try to bring you some interesting things. And our first question, by the way, don't let me forget about the best way to eat cheesecake. We'll come back to that in a little bit. The first answer, that is, comes from Couch Crumbs Quotes. And the answer is, and my team wants me to put it in the chat, which is exactly what I'm going to do. And let's see if I did that right. And we'll go over here to my timer, and I'll pull it up on the board again. The answer is man, or let's make it modern day because this happened a long time ago. A person is nothing else but what they make of themselves. A person is nothing else but what they make of themselves. And isn't that true? What are you guys making of yourselves? How are you finding meaning in your life? Every moment is a gift, and you just need to unwrap it to find the meaning within it, and there's always meaning to be found. But that was the answer for 400 Psycoins. What can you do with Psycoins? Well, thank you. Glad you asked. You can spend them at the company store. T-shirts, hats, coffee cups, merchandise. And since no one got that one, let's go ahead and go to the question. Who is Jean-Paul Sartre? He's an existential philosopher, and he emphasized the significance of personal responsibility and free will in shaping one's life. And if you follow social media, you'll see that that's not too popular. We want to blame all of our difficulties on someone else. We don't want to take responsibility for anything. But the whole point of existential philosophy, especially from Sartre, is taking personal responsibility. Let's go back to the board here. And, whoops, is that the right one? Okay, here we go. The next answer for 200 Psycoins, that other was for 400, but 200 Psycoins is, and I'll put this up on the board just because that's the kind of nice guy I am. And somebody had guessed Plato on that one. He's a great philosopher too, but Existential philosophy came along a little bit later than that. And the answer is, this is a cognitive distortion that involves dictating how we or others should behave, leading to significant frustration. What leads to significant frustration? Our thinking that things should be a certain way. And when the world doesn't adhere to that, or we have rules about how the world must be, and let me get over here to my timer, and we'll put that up on the board. This is a cognitive distortion that involves dictating how we or others should behave. And this leads to significant frustration when the world doesn't adhere to these shoulds or must rules. And boy, don't you see a lot of that in social media. Everybody thinks that everybody should think the same way that they do. And how awful would that be? Even, I think that I live my life in a healthy way, but would it be terrible if everybody thought just like everybody else and someone contributed catastrophizing? That's close. That's awful close. No, gosh, I started to say cigar, but we're not supposed to advertise cigars. I had somebody that came here and smoked a cigar the other day. It was interesting. They asked me if they could do it. That's very polite. We're outside. I'm a free will guy. You want to smoke? It's up to you. But this is not catastrophizing, although that's a good guess. Somebody put up, what is all or nothing thinking? And the question is, dun dun dun. I have some sound effects here. Let me see if I can do one. I should be able to select the sound. I'll figure that out later. Oh, here's a sound. Oh, let's do a glockenspiel. Hey, there's a glockenspiel. If you ever wanted to know what the heck is a glockenspiel? That's a glockenspiel. Gosh, who knew? I didn't know either. Here's another one. What's that? Well, of course, that's a ba-dum. If you do it twice, it's a ba-dum, ba-dum. The actual question for that one is, guess what? What is all or nothing thinking, also called, I should save this for the ba-dum, shooting all over yourself. Yes, shooting all over yourself. And we will be back right after this.
You are a fellow human struggling with difficult emotions, a fracturing relationship, parenting problem, mental health difficulty, have a psychotherapy from hell story to tell, or a challenging life experience question, and would like to share your story by stepping up to bat as a T-baller. Either register by texting QiQ to 1-870-686-4196 and join our Therapy Bites community, or send a postcard with your name, address, phone number, email address, and age to the address on the screen. Therapy Bites QiQ, P.O. Box 1391, Jonesboro, Arkansas 72403 1391.
And we're back to the board, and this, and you guys haven't told me if you think I'm coming in okay tonight with my different mic configuration. You can see it right there. I've got this big, long boom arm. It's lit up. It's too bad you can't see that. But this comes from the category of, I'm sorry, my nose itches. It's a team up. It is a team up between Social Media Smackdown and Creature Feature, and the answer is, whoops. Let me copy paste. Here we go. Bear with me. Here we go. Thanks. Somebody said sounds good. And let me go to my next window. Did not do it? Oh, okay, there we go. I'll put it up again. That's okay. And the myth that everyone is happier, more successful than you based on their social media presence, because everybody knows that everything on social media is accurate. Everything on social media is accurate. And jealousy, well, yeah, it's kind of jealousy, but that's not the right one. Let's see if you can get it by the time we come back.
If you plan on being in the local area of your podcast player app and would like complimentary tickets to the Therapy Bites QiQ Art Lab studio audience, please search Therapy Bites on your device and just smash that subscribe button. Your complimentary ticket grants you access to alerts so you'll never miss a show.
And we're back, folks, and we don't have an answer just yet. The question is, what is fairy tailing? What is the common false perception fostered by the carefully curated, often idealized portrayals of life on platforms like Instagram and Facebook? And it's just like this. This is a chat GPT generated image of me. I'm actually so much better looking. No, I'm kidding. I'm much worse off than that. Actually, the camera's doing me a lot of favors. I could use some chat GPTing on my face. Gosh, you know, it looks like I'm getting older by the decade. Imagine that. I looked so much younger a decade ago, back when I was only 26. No, I'm joking. I'm off of the arc. What is imposter syndrome? Yeah, that's one of our high-value targets. That's a cognitive distortion, by the way, imposter syndrome. But let's go back to the board and pick our next item. And this is going to come for 600 PC Psycoins, fresh from the therapy couch. And let me see if I can get it on screen for you guys. Click, copy, paste. Ba-dump bump. How you like my ba-dump bumps tonight? Too much? Over the top? And this is the term for the phenomenon where people believe that their phone is vibrating. You ever had that happen? I have that happen a lot. Indicating a call or message when it is not. It is a modern psychological condition linked to our attachment to technology. And by the way, it's not even, I wouldn't call it a syndrome. That's a bit over the top. That's what whoever sent this to me calls it. I wouldn't call it a syndrome. I think that is over pathologizing. I think you might call it over assimilation. It's to prove that our brains, oh wow, somebody else, did you look that up? Some speedy Googler. No, we give you credit for that. That is for 600 Psycoins. And yeah, it is. It's called phantom vibration. You're so used to feeling that against your leg that your central nervous system has created a memory of it and actually stored that information, and your brain is just replicating it. There's really no difference, essentially, in feeling a vibration in your leg that's not there and remembering that 2 + 2 = 4. Let's go back to the board, and this comes from, for 400 Psycoins, Psych Secrets. And this is the answer. And we're going to pull this up on the board once I get to my timer. And this is cool. I mean, I don't care who you are. You got to think this is cool. The intriguing neurological phenomenon where individuals with certain types of brain damage can respond to visual stimuli that they don't even think that they can see. They're actually unaware. When you're looking at me, you're aware that you're seeing me and my AKG mic, isn't that nifty? And my windshield here, so I'm not doing pops and hisses into the mic. But these folks, they aren't even aware that they're getting this information input, and yet they get it anyway. This should tell you a little bit about gaslighting, that your brain behind the scenes can do things, yes, that even you are not aware of, that you're blind to it, you're not aware of it, but it's there anyway. And do we have any takers on that one? We don't. Time is running out. Come on, guys. I'm going to see if I can get an interesting sound there. How about a boing? It's not very loud though, right? But this is called, the question is, what is blind sight? What is blind sight? Let's go back to the board and see what else we have. Oh my goodness, we'll be right back after this.
Premier accommodations for our T-Ball contributors provided electronically by the luxurious Art Lab Studio, overlooking the steaming cesspool of pseudo-psychological social media psychomalarkey and located in cyberspace on your favorite podcast hosting platform, where we invite you to the most psychomalogically thrilling podcast in town, while you feast on our award-winning Psychologically-Nutritious buffet of TherapyBites cuisine, conscientiously cooked up by your hard-working T-Ball team chefs.
And what fun is that? Some of our participants, some really cool things here. We have enough time to talk about this before we're out. I put both of them in here. I thank you guys, William and Seaver. Thank you for joining. Those are wonderful things. Hypnopompic hallucinations, I know you could look that up, but that's known as a hallucination that you have upon awakening from sleep. And I tend not to even call it a hallucination. It actually, if you differentiate between a illusion and a hallucination has no stimulus. A illusion, magician's illusion, illusions have stimuli. For instance, if I look across there and see a big green monster and there's a ficus tree, well, that has a stimulus, and I would call that a illusion, and that's different than visions that are created out of whole cloth, out of thin air, where there's no stimulus, a visual or auditory or a tactile or an olfactory or a taste, a gustatory hallucination. There's no stimulus. But a hypnopompic, that is upon awakening, and there's usually a stimulus. What is the stimulus? Well, it's really a pairing between perhaps a dream that you had and then I don't know, the cuckoo on the clock across the wall or something, and they kind of blend together. But I would argue that that's actually not a hallucination, though yes, I do know that is what they're called. And one of my other favorite things, phantom, well, I shouldn't say my favorite thing. Lots of people suffer from this, but phantom limb pain is a type of psychological grief. I know I've never even read this. It's just something that I came up with I think makes sense to me. Is a type of psychological grief that the brain goes through for a missing limb. So if you cut off a limb, you have removed the limb, but the neurons that were connected to that remain, and they're fiddle-faddling around looking for something to do, and in the missing of the limb, they create sensation to activate themselves, and you get, pain. And it's usually a burning or a stinging, or dull throbbing or aching or something like that. And there's some really low-tech revolutionary treatments for that. And I'll let you guys look that up, or we might be able to talk about that a little bit later. I want to thank you guys for being here. Join us back here again on Thursday. Tell us what you think about the questions. If you have questions of your own, you're welcome to send those. Just text those to 1-870-686-4196. You can also email those to therapybites@yahoo.com, or you can DM me on Twitter or Instagram at TherapyBites, or I think maybe Therapy_Bites on Instagram. I am Doc.Heath and Doc Heath Daily. Grab the episode that we'll be putting out tomorrow. Hope you guys enjoy that. Have a great evening. We'll catch you next time.
Next time on Therapy Bites Art Lab QiQ, Doc Heath and T-Ball Collars face off against steaming piles of pseudo-psychological psycho-malarkey directly from your favorite social media platforms, or perhaps from the psychotherapy couch of a pill-pushing, emotion-demonizing, bobble-headed, woo-woo clinician who fed their kooky Kool-Aid to you. This is Art Potto speaking. Therapy Bites QiQ is a Dr. I'm a Freudnot production. Distributed by the Therapy Bites Art Lab Podcast.